Good Lord have mercy. ESPN's Rich Cimini went off the hook on Haason Reddick. Was he right? We're going to listen to the clip and find out. Let's roll.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure as you guys are coming in, you like the video, hit subscribe. We also have a full article in the YouTube description down below. And let's get right into it, baby. So, in case you missed it, Rich Cimini has a podcast, the Flight Deck Podcast. And in it, he went on a wild rant about Haason Reddick. And I'm curious your guys' thoughts because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. I mean, I've never heard a team insider go more in on a player than what Rich Cimini did for Haason Reddick. And this is the most pissed off I've ever heard Rich Cimini in my life. Just absolutely angry about Haason Reddick returning to the team. Let's go to the footage, and we'll see. Here's Haason Reddick, by the way. Let's throw him up on the screen. He has returned to practice. He is expected to play against New England Patriots, so we're going to see Haason Reddick, barring something crazy. And there is Haason Reddick. But here's what Rich Cimini had to say, and then we'll react to it. Here is the clip.
Now, Haason Reddick comes back to the team, ends his holdout on Sunday morning, reports on Monday. He's going to practice this week. My gut tells me that he'll probably play, even though Jeff Ulbrich was non-committal on Monday. And Ulbrich was just raving about Reddick, how he's fired up. This is a joke. I mean, he is not here for the team. He is here for himself. He's here to get a few sacks and to improve his reputation and go into free agency in the offseason and cash in. He doesn't give a damn about the Jets, about the uniform, about the logo. He is not emotionally invested in this team. It's Reddick Incorporated. He's a personal contractor. It's not about the team. It's about him. If I were Ulbrich, I wouldn't play him. I mean, the guy skipped the entire offseason because he wanted more money. And now he shows up, 7 weeks in, 8 weeks in, just so he can get his season credit and become a free agent. That's what the Jets don't need another guy like that. This is what I said at the top of the podcast. They're a collection of players right now. They're not a full team, and you're just bringing in a guy who is all about himself. He's not going to play the run. He's just going to go all out to get sacks so he can pad his stats and cash in free agency. This really bothers me, as you can tell. I just think it's a bad situation, and they're just enabling him, and they talk about accountability. I mean, come on. This is not a veteran guy. Like, if Quinnen Williams held out and showed up, it's like, okay, he's been on the team. He's invested in the team. This guy hasn't even had a practice yet with the Jets. So I just think it sends a bad message. It really does. Woody Johnson got involved and made this deal with Drew Rosenhaus, and I just think it stinks, quite frankly.
There he is, Rich Cimini. By the way, of course, this podcast was recorded before Haason Reddick had his first practice on Wednesday. It was a walkthrough practice. They will have a full practice today. So Rich Cimini recorded this podcast earlier in the week, but it posted later. And boy, oh my good golly, I have never heard Rich go off on a guy like that. And when you go to the root of what Rich Cimini is saying, you can kind of understand that Haason Reddick, who showed up, said he can't wait to play for the team. The trade is consummated in late March. It becomes official on April 1st. He gets introduced to the team. Haason Reddick's like, I'm going to give everybody 110%. It disappears for months. So I get why there are people angry about it. There are Jet fans that are angry about it. Obviously, there's team insiders that are crazy about it. And I get the anger because you wish he was here from day one. But, he's It is what it is. Like, we don't have a DeLorean. We can't go back in time. It is what it is. Haason Reddick wasn't here during that time. He's here now. And to Cimini's point about it being, you know, a mercenary, a guy who only cares about himself. Well, this is going to sound cold perhaps, but I don't care if he only cares about himself. I mean, I prefer that he was a team guy, but to be honest, like, I want to win. And I think I speak on behalf of all Jet fans. I want to win. If he wants to go for sacks, God bless. Go for sacks. We need more of them. While we're borderline top 5, we need another guy who's hunting. I think this can be a situation where it's best for all parties. That's what I believe we can get to. Haason Reddick can go get his sacks and pile them up and get a big bag of money, hopefully not from the Jets, because, again, until I see Haason Reddick in a uniform and blowing up, he's 30 years old. He'll be 31 next year. I don't know if I want to resign Haason Reddick to a long-term deal. I'm not sure. But I'm fine with him being a mercenary because, I've never hired a hitman in my life, but whenever or if ever I ever have to, you just hire a hitman, he does a job, and then he leaves. That's how the transaction is supposed to work. The Jets brought in a hitman. Haason Reddick increased the Jets' chances of winning. That's what they did by bringing him in. There's no kumbaya, there's no family, there's no hoopla. Just Haason Reddick, we need someone that can sack the quarterback. Can you do that? Oh, you can? Okay, great. Let's go. And let's do this thing. In terms of benching him, to me, it's bonkers. The Jets are 2-5. Rich Cimini said if he was Ulbrich, he would not play him. I don't understand. Ulbrich is fighting for his life as a head coach in the NFL. He needs Haason Reddick, and he made that very clear in his multiple instances of discussing Haason Reddick this week. So benching him, it's out of anger from Rich about that opinion about, like, man, I wouldn't even play him. And I heard there were some Jet fans who had that take while he was gone. You know what? Bench him. We hold his rights. Just never play him and do this or that. And while you can do that out of angry, it's like, I've never had the pleasure of doing this, but if you ever quit your job, you get to go into the boss's office and tell him to, pack this, buddy, and you get the 5 seconds of glory. That sounds cool. But then you walk out of the building, you're like, damn, I just burned a bridge. Like, the Jets would get the 5 seconds of glory. There are some fans that would probably rally around the fact if the Jets just benched his ass and did all these other things and said, welcome back to the team, but you're never playing. Like, I could understand the 5 seconds of glory, people going like, yeah, F the man. But if we're being honest, this is a results-oriented business. We need guys who can sack the quarterback, and Haason Reddick is back. However he came back, he's back. We need that. So, again, to be honest, I think the benching stuff is crazy. I get the emotions of it. And by the way, I did invite Rich Cimini on the show this morning. He had a lot going on, so he couldn't come on because I would have loved to have him on to expand upon this thought, but he was unable to do so. And on some of this other stuff, like I have if you click in the article down below, it's got all like the written transcript of what Rich Cimini said in that rant. And I'm just going through it to make sure I didn't miss anything here. He's here for himself. He's here to get a few sacks, improve his reputation, go into free agency and cash in. Yeah, and I imagine a lot of players, that is their perspective. He doesn't give a damn about the Jets uniform logo. He's not emotionally invested in this team. That's probably true. I mean, he hasn't been here for months. So, again, that's a reality of the situation. It's Reddick Incorporated. He's a personal contractor. It's not about the team. It's about him. If I were Ulbrich, I wouldn't play him. I mean, the guy skipped the entire offseason because he wanted more money. Now he shows up, 7-8 weeks in just so he could get a season credit and becomes a free agent. The Jets don't need another guy like that. I get a lot of people, Damian Woody has made this point, Rich Cimini has made this point this week, that this isn't a team. This is just a roster, a Madden roster of all these different things. The roster is the roster, man. Now, the thing where I'm like, I don't know if this is true. Like, here's some more from Cimini. He says, Reddick is not going to play the run. He's just going to go all out to get sacks so he can pad his stats and cash it in free agency. He said it bothers him. You're enabling Haason Reddick. Where's the accountability? He believes it sends a bad message. I don't know. So, at first, when Haason Reddick plays on Sunday against New England Patriots. I don't think he's going to be in a lot of running situations. I think they're going to use Haason Reddick for a handful of snaps. I believe they're going to use him in obvious passing situations, third and long, and things of that nature. And Haason Reddick will be utilized in that function until he gets in proper football shape. That's what I believe is going to happen. That's how I see it. So, to go back to one of the other Rich Cimini points, if you were just going to not play him, you should have then just traded him to some other team if you were going to do that. But the reason why the Jets didn't do that is because they need more pass rush help. They need to make plays. They need guys on that end of the defense. So that's why initially when the team sounded like they were getting a fresh perspective with a new agent, and people said, he could seek a trade. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense because it didn't sound like you were going to get a lot for him. Sort of in the Mike Williams way, but a different way, because I think Haason Reddick can obviously have a far bigger impact. But you need pass rush. Why hook up another team with it? Unless they gave you some crazy, ridiculous offer. So let's see. He's got, obviously, week 8, and we got one bye week in between. He's got, 10 games, basically, to get as much as he can. Remember, that third rounder becomes a second rounder if, and only if, Haason Reddick accomplishes both of these feats. Plays at least 67.5% of the snaps. And I think timing-wise, we're going to be running out of time for that to be possible because he obviously missed these first chunk of games. So he'd have to play an unbelievable amount of snaps to overcompensate for the games missed through the first 7 weeks of the season. So that'll be kind of interesting. And then the number 2 are at least 10 sacks. And by the way, if he gets at least 10 sacks in these rest of the games, I will be very happy to hand over a second-round draft choice. But again, it's important to note that it's not one or the other. It is both. Like Devante Adams, right? We talk about that pick potentially becoming more. In that situation, you accomplish any one of the things, first or second team All-Pro. The Jets getting to the AFC Championship game, the Jets getting to the Super Bowl, any one of those factors, and Devante Adams is an active member on either of those teams, that third becomes a second. So, again, those are either or. Haason Reddick is both. I want to make that clear. So an absolutely wild rant from Rich Cimini. It was jarring, quite frankly, to hear that level of juice, that level of heat from a team insider who covers a team and is doing all those things. Absolutely. All right. It seems like a lot of people have opinions. So we will open up the phone lines. Why don't we do this? We'll open them up early here on the show. We'll talk more about Haason Reddick returning to the team. We got the Patriots game. Also, before we take a quick little Hep Boy Green Daily song break, we do have Boy Green Meets Woody today. It is not at 3 o'clock. It is live at 1:30. So just mark your calendars accordingly. We'll be back on again at 1:30 with Henry McKenna. He covers the entire AFC East and NFL for Fox Sports. He'll be joining us again live at 1:30. Me, Woody, Henry McKenna will be previewing Jets Patriots. I'll also have Taylor Kyles of the New England Patriots on Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning in 24 hours. So we'll have a lot of Jets Patriots coverage as well coming up here shortly on the show. Quick Boy Green Daily song, and then the phone lines will be open, and you guys can react to that incredible Rich Cimini rant. Let's go.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets.
Hap, you're one of the best. But before we go to the phone lines, which, by the way, are now open, that is youtube.com/BoyGreen25. Our boy Ed Vargas gifted some Boy Green Coffee Club memberships, baby. You love to friggin' see it. Thank you, Ed, so much for the support, baby. Oh, yes. Very nice. I love it. And let's also get some JETS chants. Maybe one more. Booyah! Here are the 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Again, shout out to Ed Vargas, baby. James Kennedy, Rich Tutulo, Brantley the Beast, Pittsburgh Mike, NYC Camper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, which of course gives you a loyalty badge here on YouTube. Your comments will be highlighted more frequently than those who are not Boy Green Coffee Club members. Plus, you have access to the Discord, baby. Make sure you guys check it out. Jared B drops that Discord link. It's actually just kind of a special social media app that's private to the Boy Green Coffee Club members. People that are Boy Green Coffee Club members, we talk about all kinds of things: Jets, NFL, fantasy football, you name it, you got it. And we have more coming to our Discord. So, guys, make sure you hop on that train. Toot, toot. Ed Vargas, really appreciate the support, buddy. And it was great to chat with you. Jets Patriots, which, by the way, is this week. Also, we're going to be dropping our Jets Patriots video. If you guys saw us, me and Woody for Jets Patriots, you saw we had a camera guy with us, and he was documenting everything. I'll be releasing that little mini documentary video. It'll be 10 to 12 minutes of Jets, Patriots, and following around, and hopefully that kind of chutzpah can be repeated. I would love to see it. So shout out to Ed Vargas. If you guys would like to gift a membership, you could do so on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the money sign. Final option, gift channel memberships. You could gift 1, 3, 5, 10, 15, 25, 50 for Pete's sake. And spread the good gospel so other people can enjoy the perks of the Boy Green Coffee Club membership, or join yourself. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club by clicking here in the YouTube description down below. All right, let's get into some people's takes because, boy, you guys had opinions all over the place on Rich Cimini, whether you agreed or disagreed. Let's go to the phone lines. NY Jets FL joins us here on the show. What's up, pal?
Paul, good morning. Can I touch on something I think is more critical than that, which would be
please do.
the Devante Adams press conference and
the rant,
speech.
The speech. That's a better word for it. Speech after the Jets Steelers game. Correct.
Yes. Based on Devante's statement, the reaction from the players and some of the people in the room basically never heard that kind of talk before, which is an extreme indictment of Robert Saleh and how poor of a coach he is. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you would imagine the culture setter supposed culture setter of the organization would understand the camaraderie part of the team building and things like that. And to hear that a guy who just came in to the building had to make a speech like that, not players that have been here like Quinn and Williams and other people who've been here for years, don't come up and stand up and say, hey, man, this is not acceptable. Mm-hmm. I know there's for different kind of personalities in a locker room, of course, too. Maybe Quinn's not that type, but hey, when the ship is sinking, the desperate times call for desperate measures. So I think the Saleh, that's just such a huge blow to the fact that maybe our record and the way Saleh handles things, it's not a good look for him. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and just to think, for people to fully understand what happened. So Jets is obviously Devante Adams gets acquired midweek last week. He's there for days. Devante Adams. They play the game. Of course, the Jets lose. We all know that. Devante Adams after the game apparently starts off his speech with, "Well, I've only been here a few days, but." And
exactly.
He apparently goes on this inspiring speech of what's unacceptable, what's acceptable, and things of that nature. And Aaron Rodgers called it like the most, I wish I had the quote in front of me, but like the most inspiring, real speech he had ever heard, like in his 20 years in the league. And I'm just like, wow.
More or less.
That was the gist. So man, if Devante Adams somehow saves the season with this, apparently, and it's funny because like Devante, while on some sense you go like, dude, you've been here for like days, but he brings a fresh perspective to the team. He hasn't been around this shit show. So like him being able to look around, just kind of tell it how it is without any biases. He's just, letting it rip, so to speak. Like maybe that can be a rallying cry. It's kind of weird that we needed it from a receiver we traded for midweek, but you know what? I guess wherever the inspiration comes, I suppose.
Aaron Rodgers made it a point early in the season that he needed younger players to step up and be leaders. He did say that quite a bit of time, maybe during the preseason. And he even mentioned like a player like Garrett. So maybe, I wouldn't say Garrett's career took a blow, but maybe his pocketbook, took a bit of a hit. He's got to come out and come out of his shell a little and maybe not be maybe he's not an alpha player or personality, but maybe he's going to have to start trying to be somewhat of one. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I think to be honest, if we're all being blunt at this current moment of time, all of the players from the 2022 draft class, as soon as we reach the conclusion of the season, are allowed to speak about contract extensions. They're eligible for the first time in their careers. Right now, Garrett Wilson's paycheck, whatever you want to describe it as, 100% okay. Again, he's going to make more money than he's making now, obviously. So a pay raise is coming. But when we're talking about the levels of wide receiver, there are 30+ million per year wide receivers. And I think based on the evidence we've seen so far this season, absolutely not. For Garrett Wilson in that category. Where is he? He's in the mid-20s, like all these other cats, and even there, like Jalen Waddles and Devontae Smith, some of those guys are in the 27, 28 million range. Has Garrett proved to be in that category yet? He's a really talented dude, but boy, to your point, he also rides the emotional roller coaster after games. He just takes these hits and mistakes and things so hard. I can't even imagine how he could possibly become that leader in that current moment in time because of how much he's wildly affected by the results, which, again, from a passionate guy, that's really ringing. But it'll be curious to see if, to your point, he could take that leadership role that Rodgers seemingly wanted him to take in the offseason.
Right. And that came from, starting with the coddling of Zach Wilson and all the excuse making from Saleh, where, it's the turf, it's the wet ball, and we have to handle things internally. Zach, you have to play better, son. I'll pat you on the back. I'll push you out, and you got to go out and correct this. You got to go out and correct that. It only works for so long, Paul. When you don't win, the message rings hollow. The message rings hollow. Have a great day, Paul. I'll let y'all other callers call then. Thanks, Paul.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you, NY Jets FL. Yes, that was the other topic up for debate here for today's show, was certainly the Devante Adams speech and the ripple effects from it. But I was very moved, both good and bad, by the Rich Cimini take, in my opinion, about Haason Reddick. To me, that was very whoa. Again, I have not seen a lot of team insiders because they normally keep themselves sort of removed from that kind of commentary normally. So that one to me. But hey, man, Devante Adams apparently had this ringing speech of accountability. That's great to hear. But I don't give a flying hoot where it comes from. Let's go. We need it badly. All right, we'll go back to the phone lines here in a second. I just wanted to catch up on a comment or two here, and then we'll get back to the phone lines here. Make sure you guys like the video and hit subscribe. We got 600 people in the room. FL Phil 98, the word Nick laughed at, leadership. And yet that seems to be an integral piece of the puzzle here. Yeah, I think what Nick did, and Nick, by the way, will be back. He texted me and said he will be back next week. So that's good to hear. But I think the word he overreacted to was that, FL Phil 98, leadership. Leadership does not always mean rallying, screaming guy at the top, bite kneecaps off, which, by the way, Dan Campbell is, and that's working out pretty well. But it's about just being able to lead a room. You don't have to be the loudest guy in the room. Devante Adams is as great of an example as anybody from that perspective. He doesn't talk that often. He said that he's a leader. He kind of talked about that on the Kay Adams show. He does weekly interviews there. And he talked about being that leader. He said, I'm not the rah-rah guy, but when something needs to be said, I say it. So, I think we overreact, or in this case, Nick Faria yesterday on the show, I think he overreacted to the word leadership and said that's not what the Jets need. I think that's absolutely what the New York Jets need. Now, does it have to come in the Robert Saleh package of all gas, no brakes, and all these other isms? No, not necessarily, but you do need a guy that you can believe in. Someone that drives faith, someone that drives belief, whether it's with results or words or what have you. I think leadership is incredibly important. From a military family, leadership is massively important. Having a guy at the top that's directing, discipline, cracking the whip, letting us know the right, the wrong, and making the line very clear so the players or family members in this particular case follow the line, and it makes it, again, very blunt. From that perspective. So, yeah, I think we got into some of that leadership chatter yesterday, and, for better or for worse there. I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, let me go through some more comments here. I had a lot of these interesting questions. Let's see here. Okay. I got my father in the chat. I'm not betting against the Jets versus the Patriots. I have to put my daughter through college. That's true. He's got one more child to kind of, check off the bucket list there back at home. For that to be there. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Saleh, I'm seeing all these. Robert Saleh is back in the NFL. In case you guys missed that came out yesterday. Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, has hired Robert Saleh. Now, he doesn't have an official title of this, that, or the other, but he's working with the offense. Robert Saleh is. He's working with the offense. Very interesting. And apparently how defenses will attack his offense and finding vulnerabilities. It was a very interesting presser from Matt LaFleur talking about that with Saleh. So I'm happy for Saleh, the guy, to get an opportunity. Obviously, he's not head coaching material. And I wrote about this on Heavy. But, we can all argue whether or not 5 games is a proper sample size to fire a guy in the middle of a season. If the leash was that short, you probably should have fired him the year before. But firing him in general, he was 20-36 as a head coach. He was not a good head coach. You can't blame them for that decision. Despite what some of our other callers say, he just wasn't good. He wasn't a good head coach. We can argue whether it was a problem or the problem. That's certainly a conversation. But him being fired, you can kind of tell. But just because you're not head coaching material doesn't mean you can't be in the NFL. He's a really good defensive mind. Matt LaFleur called him an elite defensive mind. And yeah, he's going to be in and around the team. It sounds like it's a very fluid situation in terms of he's going to get plenty of time with his family. So it's not like, hey, he's in the office, 7 days a week or something. But yeah, it sounds like he will be a member of the Green Bay Packers. Terrific. Absolutely terrific from that perspective. So shout out to Robert Saleh, who lands on his feet, the Green Bay Packers with an offensive coaching responsibility. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's keep going here. Let me see. We have a caller. I see that he's got stuff going on. Easy, are you ready yet or no? No. Okay, he's working on something back there. So we'll get back to Easy momentarily here on the show. Yes, I see people talking about the Devante Adams. Wait, I believe he might be ready. Easy, are you ready to roll? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
great.
good.
Easy, welcome to the show. Yes.
Yeah, I was just writing something down. I just dumped a load out of the dumpster, and now I'm going to Chapel Hill. Woohoo!
Oh, beautiful. There we go. Excellent. Well, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks. This whole thing with Cimini and Reddick,
Yeah.
I understand his frustrations. And remember, I had been saying let him rot too.
Sure.
But
right, yeah.
But it was a conditional let him rot. If it was one of those things where he came back last minute just to have his eligibility for the season, that kind of thing, yeah, then I would have let his ass rot. But since he came back now, I guess the new people that are advising him, they probably sat him down and said, look, you're just being a punk ass bitch. All you're doing is you're putting a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Nobody is going to want to give you a long-term contract if they think that you're a psycho and an asshole. So mend fences. Woody Johnson really wants you to play. He's willing to let bygones be bygones, even help you get rid of your fines. Go make some money. Don't be stupid. Go make some money. To play well, play hard, and maybe someone will give you your multi-year deal. And if they don't, just try to get the best prove me deals you can year after year. People do it all the time in this league.
And I just want the clarity here because to your point, I think that's very important. Haason Reddick, if he just wanted to show up for the minimum, that would have been week 13. That would have been after the week 12 bye. Obviously, it sounds like he's playing here in week 8. So he showed up a month and a half ahead of time, 6 weeks before he had to, which again, at least shows you at least the agency got to him. And now he's got a legitimate kind of half season here to see what he can do. So yes, that's
right.
Taylor Sterling, let me just explain that as well. A lot of people are like, Woody paid the fines. He did not pay the fines. So there are 2 levels of fines. Half of the fines that he was allowed to waive, he waived. And then Haason Reddick can make that money back with incentives. So he's not just saying, here's here's $12 million, Haason Reddick. That's not how it works. He is waiving the fines that he can, and then if Haason Reddick plays incredibly well, he can earn the money back via incentives. I just want to make sure that's clear. Go ahead.
And the other thing is that speech that Devante Adams made, that was good, but I'll tell you who should have made that speech. It should have been made by Quinnen Williams. It should have been made by Quincy Williams. I think if the two Williams brothers as a unit would have stepped up and said, this ain't happening. We are too good of a team to have this nonsense going on. It was like I was saying, it's like a restaurant. You got all these fresh meats and vegetables, but there's nobody to actually make the meal out of it. So, it's like you got all pro at this, all pro at that, all pro at this, all pro, but there's no team. And that is coaching. That is where you get the coaches in there and you have a meeting with your team leaders, all the captains, and you say, look, we can say so much. You guys are out there on the field. You're the product. All right, we got you guys as players, and we got you here all on this team and to represent the New York Football Jets. And you're just not representing. You're losing to teams you should beat. And there's going to be losses. I mean, nobody. So there's only been two teams that went undefeated in the regular season: the 72 Dolphins and the Patriots. And the Patriots didn't even seal the deal. The Giants beat them in that final game on that miracle catch by Tyree. What is the helmet?
Yeah, David Tyree. I actually have it right here. Here he is, David Tyree, Syracuse alum. I got the football and the book right here. That is David Tyree, the catch.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was crazy. I mean, that's stuff like that. That's biblical. That's like there's nothing you can do about that. It's like last week with the Steelers. Those guys were making catches that I don't think anybody on any other time would have made. And it was just like one of those things where the Jets got into the quicksand and they couldn't climb out of it. And it was just everything it's like Keanu Reeves said in that movie, The Replacements, Quicksand. He goes, one thing goes wrong and then another and then another and then another. And then you're drowning like quicksand. That's what happened in the Steelers game. That interception, they just never got past it. And sometimes that stuff happens, man. It's amazing how it does happen, because you think they're both professional teams. How does momentum act that way? But it really does. And it's crazy. And once that happens, once you get on the negative side of that momentum, it's really hard to get it back. So
yeah, they definitely struggle with that. Yeah, the Steelers, quite frankly, were making plays and the Jets weren't. So that's got to be fixed for sure.
It was crazy. Anyway, next caller up. Have a great day, Paul. And how's your girlfriend, wife, fiance doing with the baby? How's everything with that?
She is doing good. We're only a couple weeks out here from the baby arriving, so that's craziness, but she's doing incredibly well. And like I said, we're getting closer and closer to the goal line, so this thing will be turning here very shortly.
Yeah, well, I'd hate to say we have another future Jets fan, because that would be child abuse the way things are going right now. But give it a month or two before you decide what uniform, what kind of onesie you're going to put the poor kid in.
Okay, that's a good point, Easy. But I will tell you this: spoiler alert, I don't give a flying hoot whether I prefer the Jets are winning. Obviously, as obvious as that could be. My child will be 1,000% wearing Jets. That is non-negotiable. When they come out of the womb, the first thing they will be wearing and representing are the New York Football Jets. It is being passed down. And they could be like, well, Dad, I don't want it. I'm like, I don't give a flying hoot what you want. I'm your father, for God's sakes. And that is exactly what's being delivered. All of my children are Jets fans, will be Jet fans. Absolutely non-negotiable. Damn straight, baby. Damn straight. Let me see some questions here. Jared B says, Paul, Jets game is on. Baby is coming. Do you watch the game or help with the birth? Why not both? Like while I'm under center like a quarterback, why can't we deliver the baby and then get a touchdown? You know what I mean? So it's possible, obviously. It's possible. It's possible. The due date was around the Jets' bye week, so it looked like it was going to line up quite favorably. But sometimes the gods have other plans. So obviously I'll be there with my family, and hopefully we got a TV on in the delivery room if that is the case. JETS, 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 Jets. Let me see. Robert Bianchi. Pittsburgh has had 3 head coaches, which is crazy. And also the 3 one-handed catches. That's the will to win. Yeah, they were just making plays. Quite frankly, that's the easiest way to put it. The Steelers are just making plays. You had the George Pickens crazy catch off. Isaiah Oliver bounced up in the air. He made the catch. Pat Freiermuth, one-handed catch. Obviously, the crazy interception at the end of the first half was a great play by the Steelers defensive back. Again, Aaron Rodgers was forcing it in a tighter window, but the kid made a play. And they were making plays. The Jets were not making plays. So that's another thing, hopefully, we see in this New England Patriots game, our players making plays. We talk so much hubbub about Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Devante is now a part of the team. Haason Reddick's now a part of the team. Like, you got all this talent. The talent is oozing off this team. Big-time players make big-time plays. Point blank, quite simply, big-time players are supposed to make big-time plays. And that's what they have to do. If they do that, the Jets are going to be in a really good position. If they don't, well, we've seen what happens, quite frankly. Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Tim from Fishland here on the show. What's up, Tim?
Morning, Paul.
Morning.
Kudos to you with the kids. There's an old saying, trials and tribulations creates character.
Oh, see, there you go.
Being a Jet fan.
Yeah, see, so that can only help.
Now, every year now, I'm starting to become more and more convinced that Joe Willie sold his soul for that Super Bowl 3, and the Jets have been completely. You never see it happen with another team. I just don't get it. But that's something that we got to deal with, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's gonna flip. It's gonna flip. It has to.
We can only hope. We can only hope, my man.
The Patriots are a good opponent for it to flip. To start a mini run here, you got to start somewhere. Sweeping the Patriots for the first time in 24 years would be a great place to start.
Yeah, but you already know, in typical Jet fashion, they'll figure out how to jet it out.
That's the fear that you always have to be, prepared and ready for. There's no question.
But, other than that, we'll see what happens for the rest of the season. If they could, capture lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
This season's probably got to be the worst I've been through in a long time because of the talent of the team. And
I think if you combine expectations and what has happened, I think
it's not even expectations. Like, I wasn't thinking that they were going to go to the damn Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they'd make the playoffs and maybe make a little bit of a run. And then maybe next year we could talk about Super Bowl. But it just seems like, to me, too many people are doing their own thing on the field. They're not playing together as a team. And one of it starts up front, and I think I heard the other day that they really should start running Braylon Allen on first and second down and put Breece in on third, because he's a north-south runner, and Breece seems to like to dance, and he's not hitting the hole like he used to. But Braylon's hitting that hole, so
that's for sure. Yeah, Braylon hasn't got. I think he has 6 touches in the last 2 weeks or something I saw. So let's get him involved in the early downs, and then use Breece in space on screen plays and all kind of sweeps and creatively. Yeah, I'm all about it. Sure.
Yeah. Other than that, leave it to the Jets to, what should I say, suck the fun out of playing Madden against people online. I'm ranked in the top 700 in the world right now, right?
Wow, that's pretty good. Congratulations.
So, it's only going to last for another 9 days until season 3 comes out, but
you know what?
I got
that's
me a
okay.
nice little plan now. Huh?
There you go. And I think we lost you there. But Tim, I appreciate the call, brother. Yes, and congrats on your Madden success. The Jets are going to turn it around. Of course they are. That's what we're doing. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Big Green joins here on the show. What's up, Big Green?
Oh, what's going on, Paul? Did you watch Sherman's podcast with DJ Reed?
I did not. How was it?
Oh, that was a pretty good interview. He was talking about up into all the events that were going on and how they kept calling
great.
up.
I got to listen to that.
Yeah, he was upset. Sherman was like, "All right, you can't say anything. We don't want to get you fined or anything." He was going off on the refs for the pass interference calls and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, hope we're in a good place for New England. They said basically they were up by 2. Right, I'm not sure if it was like right before the half or right after the pick, but they said they had like no energy. They were shot. It felt like they were losing like 30-0, and they were winning. I was like, oh, that explains a lot. Okay.
Jesus. Well, that's not what you want to hear, but I appreciate the honesty.
But I just want to let you know you should check that out. I'm going to go eat my breakfast. Tune in.
Great.
You have a good one, Paul.
All right, I appreciate it, Big Green. Yeah, I try to enjoy as much of the Jets content that's out there in the universe, whether it's players joining other podcasts. Like I've seen several Jets players join the Pivot podcast, which is Ryan Clark and company, and they normally do, that's like an hour interview. But DJ Reed Sherman, that sounds like a goodie. Real quick on DJ Reed, and it looks like he might be back this week. He was a full participant in practice yesterday, and boy, did they need him. I was a little worried with the groin. That thing could kind of linger, but it's good to hear he's a full participant in practice. Hopefully he's back. DJ Reed's been playing like one of the best corners in football, not just on the Jets, like in the game of football, NFL. DJ Reed has been absolutely friggin' killing it, so he deserves all the love in the world. And hopefully he could come back sooner rather than later. Again, I wish there was a world where DJ Reed could come back. It looks more and more difficult because I think he is going to secure a massive bag in free agency. So shout out to DJ Reed, man. But he has been friggin' balling out. Hopefully Sauce Gardner can take a page or two from his playbook because DJ Reed has been playing tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Yeah, let's give you guys an injury update. 1 second, I'll give you the full injury bore here. Okay, let me see from the New York Jets. Okay, here we go. Here's our Week 7 injury report for our Wednesday practice. Again, note this was a walkthrough practice because of what they've gone through. Here are the players that did not practice. Tony Adams did not practice with a hamstring. Ashton Davis did not practice with a concussion. Likey Fotu did not practice with a knee. Alan Lazard did not practice because of a chest. Elijah Vera Tucker did not practice because of the ankle. Good news, okay, this is encouraging. Michael Carter II was a limited participant with the back. That's good. It looks like the arrow is pointing in the right direction. A bunch of other limiteds. Will McDonald, shoulder. Morgan Moses, knee. Aaron Rodgers, knee, hamstring. He also has an ankle issue. Tyron Smith, limited participant. That's a vet rest day. Quincy Williams had a neck. He played through it in the Steelers game, limited participant. And then you had 4 full participants. Tyler Conklin, full participant with the hip. DJ Reed, I just mentioned, full participant with the groin. Chaz Surratt with the heel. He was not limited at all from that perspective. And then Kenny Yeboah with the abdomen, full participant. And they've opened up the 21-day practice window for Kenny Yeboah, and boy, that run blocking we could sure use at the tight end position because that's been a struggle. So the sooner we could get Kenny Yeboah back, the better. The fact that I'm rooting for Kenny Yeboah to come back as some massive piece here is clearly not good news. But you understand. So that is a long-ass injury report. Matthias says AVT's always hurt. It just stinks. It stinks that he cannot stay healthy. We'll keep an eye on that. The good news is that if it was anything serious, because people were worried about an Achilles at first, we would have already known that information. So that part is at least somewhat encouraging that it's not something crazy like that. The Freedom House, 1984. I'm disgruntled until we get back to 500. It's all the Jets' fault, not mine. That's fair enough. A lot of people are not going to believe until they get back to 500. For that to happen, they need to win 3 games. And if you look at the Jets' schedule and what's coming up here on the docket for the New York Jets, obviously they have this game against the New England Patriots that they're favored in. Actually, analytically, they're favored in the next 4 games heading into the bye week, according to the analytics. That's, again, not always Vegas, but analytics. So Jets go to New England. They play them. They host the Houston Texans for the Thursday Night Football game on Halloween. At Arizona, home for the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football. Those are the next 4. Then you have your bye, and then we have the final 6 games of the season. That's how it sets up. So we'll see if they can get to that closer than that as well. Alan, Paulie, will you be at Yankee Stadium for Notre Dame Army? That would have been awesome. But yes, that'll be in baby range. So I will not be at that game. I would have loved to be at that game. That's going to be terrific. And I think we might get, I'm just so happy for Army and Navy for that matter. Absolutely terrific. So yeah, way too close to birth, unfortunately. So I will not be there because the birth can happen anywhere here in the next month, basically, is when the birth can happen. So yeah, we'll not be at that game, unfortunately. But we'll keep you guys posted. Not on that. That, unfortunately, won't be possible, but I appreciate it. Me and my dad did go to, I think we had a Syracuse Notre Dame game at Yankee Stadium, which was very nice. I think we saw a bowl game, maybe. I can't remember. But we definitely saw Syracuse Notre Dame Yankee Stadium. That was just a regular season game. That was a lot of fun. For sure. How much lower can things get? Well, let's hopefully, we're talking about the other side, that, the arrow points in the correct direction, that the Jets turn this around, not about the lower, about the higher. But things can always get lower. But I think we can turn it around. Let's go here. We have John Sauer. Texans, no cakewalk. Absolutely not. I mean, the Jets really responded quite well last year to that game, and that was Zach Wilson. Where he had that half of football that he looked really good, and another half not so much. So we'll see on Texans. I always favor the team on Thursday Night Football that hosts. That gives you a significant advantage, obviously, because you get to take out the travel portion of the exam for those short weeks. So that part's exciting. Taylor Sterling, Jet Life, that's where I'm at. The team needs to show me they care before I do. Yeah, the caring part, again, the lack of energy before the Steelers game is just unacceptable. And that's right, Peter. That is the Pinstripe Bowl, baby. You know what it's all about. Pinstripe Bowl. Syracuse had a couple of those with old Doug Maroney, a.k.a. Doug Marone. That's right. To 411 on New York Sports. Question, Paul, thoughts on people saying Reddick looked a little plumper than usual? Well, I will tell you this. There are plenty of pictures of Haason Reddick out there in the universe now because he returned to Jets practice. They have videos and pictures. To be honest, if I'm being frank, Uncle Tio, Funkle, it's hard to tell whether he's plumper than normal because it had been 6 months in between me basically seeing him. So maybe not. I don't know. I can't really tell, to be honest with you. I'd have to look back at his initial presser and see him standing there, although he wasn't wearing like skin tight clothes, so it's hard to tell exactly the size of him. And then now he's like in shoulder pads, jersey, and everything, so it's also hard to tell. So to be honest, I hadn't heard that noise till you just said it, Uncle Tio, but it's going to be hard for me to tell. But he can be as plump as he wants to, as long as he's sacking the quarterback. Again, we talked about it with my dad when the Haason Reddick news broke, like, oh, snap, when are we going to see him? And we talked about, maybe give him some rest and this and that or the other. It sounds like he's going to be ready to go for the Patriots game in a limited role, which I'm like, okay, let's go. If he's ready to go, let's roll. So that's good. I appreciate it. Alan says, I'm going November 9th, Army at North Texas, sit in the UNT student section. Go Black Knights. Awesome. Have some fun, man. Let's see. Paul does not live in Canada, Nate. New York. I live up here in upstate New York. I appreciate that. Near Syracuse. That's right. Yeah. Let me see here. All right, let's see. Alan says, why do I have a feeling that Reddick gets hurt Sunday? God, I hope not. Same old Jets. I really hope not. But the key part for the New York Jets is they're going to run through Haason. So yesterday was a walkthrough practice because of all the injuries I just read you. Today's going to be a heavy practice. How does Haason Reddick respond to the heavy practice will determine like his role for Sunday, I do believe. So that'll be a good one to keep an eye out for. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Tony Alexio joins us back on the show. What's up, Tony? Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Paul. Congratulations on the new baby. God willing to be a healthy one for you.
Thank you kindly. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had some good news. Some good news in this Jet season. The broadcast is going to have a good, healthy baby.
That's right.
But
Amen.
but I hope we don't go into an epic collapse. Where
Yes.
Sunday. But a couple of points. Like, do you have any idea of the Sirline situation? Are they going to finally let him go and bring someone else in? Because they brought in. Didn't that UFL kicker, wasn't he snatched up that they brought in?
That's a good question. I don't believe I saw that, but it's possible he could have. Yeah, they worked out 3. Again, the biggest name to me of success and like that would make it feel a certain type of way is Riley Patterson. Now, the move that I wish we would have saw from the Jets to like really increase the pressure is add one of those guys to the practice squad, and then they're right there, ready to go. The Jets did not add any of those guys to the practice squad. So they're giving Zerline a little bit more runway than I'd like. They worked out the 3 guys, and that's good. But I would have liked to sign one of those to the practice squad because then if Zerline continues to struggle, you can make this way. Those members, quote unquote, are already a member of the team. All you have to do is make a quick, like, little hook. So right now it seems like Zerline will be the kicker for Sunday against the New England Patriots. And if he struggles again, I believe the Jets are going to bring in somebody else.
Yeah, but Paul, like, this is like the root of the Jets' problem. They have somebody, but they don't have them ready to step in. Like for instance, Smith, the left tackle. Rodgers is like looking like Swiss cheese out there, getting squished all over the place. And you have this supposed to be the foundation piece, left tackle. They throw him to the right side, and he doesn't play well. And they, in their minds, they think that he's not good, but his designation is left tackle. Put him in, and then
100%.
not only that, I believe that the contract was $6.5 million for Smith, with up to $20 million. So it's
That's
like about like an extra $1 million a game he plays. Put him down. He ain't worth the money to play. Put the other kid in. Let's see what we got, and especially now because the following game, I think there's more pass rushers. I know.
Oh, for sure. It's Houston. Yeah, that's 1,000% right. We play the Texans on Thursday Night Football, so they've got a host of pass rushers. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be better to put the kid in. Let him get his feet in the right position. If he does a good job, Rodgers is standing and not all beat up. Rodgers will probably play a lot better. I mean, everyone's worried about how Rodgers is playing, but he's all banged up. He can't throw. Plant. Your feet. You need to plant your feet and all that stuff, and everything's out of whack with them because of the hits. I mean,
battling an ankle, a hamstring, and a knee. So yeah, he's beat up right now. Yeah.
And since we're speaking of front offensive line, there, do you find Keith Carter doing anything positive to hold the coaching position there?
No. I've seen nothing from Keith Carter that makes me go, woo, I'm so glad we have Keith Carter. Absolutely not. I've been perturbed since the offseason and continue to be perturbed. I've seen nothing outside of, I guess, the first couple weeks of the season. The Jets' pass protection was halfway decent, but then, like, it's all fallen off. So I don't know whether that's coaching or players or both. But, yeah, I've seen nothing from him that makes me feel good about him.
See, and this is what our strongest thing going into the season. We were so happy about getting our offensive line together, but it got worse. The only one who's really doing, I mean, I know, I forget the guy, the kid at center is doing good. Tittman.
So Tittman, yeah, he's done a wonderful job. There were no center snapping issues this year, yeah.
He's definitely a foundation piece. We got to get other foundation piece in there. We got Moses, who's not even 100%. He blocked off that I forget that
guy. Yeah, he did a wonderful job.
I mean, I forgot to mention yesterday, that was great news seeing him do that. But this guy Smith, he's got to go. He's got to be on the bench. Don't wait for the injury. Just put him on reserve. Let's see what we got. And then we got the Yak King. He's like a little guppy. He just wanting to get out there. I mean, you got Gibson. He keeps on bobbling all. I mean, we have things we can easily make adjustments to, and we don't. We just go as we go. I mean, and did Devante have inspiring speech. I mean, because we need something to motivate them, because they don't. It's like that they have a losing mentality now.
Yeah, they absolutely do right now. Yeah.
Did you hear about the what the speech, or not really? That was just insider special.
Well, yeah, it is a little insider special, so we didn't get to like hear the speech, or I'm sure there's cameras around, but they didn't. They have not shared that footage, and I don't know if they ever will. From what it sounds like, the content of it was, but yes, apparently after the Jets lost to the Steelers, Devante Adams got to the front of the room and said, "You know, I have only been." He started off with a caveat: "I've only been here a few days," but he talked about this kind of level of accountability and not having the right energy and not being ready to roll, and how that's unacceptable, and how we have to rally and we got to get it together. Aaron Rodgers called it the realest speech he's heard in 20 years, and this is his 20th season. So Devante Adams been here for 5 seconds, and somehow he apparently captured the room. Like, a lot of people were like moved by what he said, and he's a guy that obviously commands a lot of respect because he's Devante friggin' Adams. But we'll see what kind of impact it has on Sunday. I'd love to see the Jets come firing it off with some chutzpah against New England with their season on the line, because we did not see that fire on Sunday Night Football.
Well, that's the best news so far of this week.
Yeah.
You know, hearing something positive come out of that. And speaking about accountability, what has Ulbrich done to? He said the word accountability. I don't see any of these people getting benched that don't play right, and bring the best player on the field. That's what a head coach needs to do. You know, Bill Parcells did it. I mean, he was our best coach, and you know, Rex Ryan was our next best one because he brought a fire and a spark. But we need something. We need a spark, and hopefully, I think Devante's speech is a spark. So I learned that today. Thank you, Paul. You have a blessed day.
Yeah, you too, Tony. I appreciate you. Yeah, accountability is something that people are saying a lot, like that word's getting a lot of airtime. But like, accountability is, to Tony's point, Xavier Gipson is bumbling and stumbling all over the place with a loose biscuit, with all these balls bouncing all over the place. Where's the accountability? Yank his ass off the field. He's not delivering. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Okay. Xavier Gipson, you're struggling. Who's next? Like, we're just running the same damn thing. Isaiah Davis, Xavier Gipson, Isaiah Davis, Xavier Gipson. We're not getting plays. Like, you know what? Let's make something different. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Oh, we got FL Phil 98 in a new location in the house. Okay, beautiful. We're on the move, baby. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I wasn't going to call in today. I figured I'd give everybody a break after yesterday. You know, the leadership thing came up again, and they're talking about it in general. A lot of the conversation, whether it's accountability, you know, Adam's speech, all that kind of stuff. You were right when you said that's what really ticked me off yesterday, was the dismissal of that being important. Okay. I do think it's important. Everybody seems to think it's important. And like you said, I never met, like, you know, you grab a guy by the face mask and embarrass him. That's not leadership. Okay. Does Andy Reid do that shit? No.
Not that I've seen, no.
Right? Exactly. Even Tomlin, even though he's a fiery guy, you know, he lets you know he's pissed, but he's not a complete jerk, you know? Yeah. But to me, leadership is a lot of different things. It's setting the example. It's being the guy people turn to when shit goes wrong, right? One of the proudest moments of my life, and I won't bore you with details, but I used to be a lab technician. I was the lead technician for a pharmaceutical company in the 90s. We were doing a process called elution, which is where you use various solvents to dissolve a portion of something, and you run what's called an assay plate. It goes into an oven, and then when it's dried down, it goes to pharmaceutical companies to run assay tests on. Okay. We were using a brand new solvent that had a form of acid in it, and the barcode labels started to melt, and everybody was in a freaking panic. What are we going to do? All right. I turned to everybody and said, does anybody have any ideas? And one guy said, well, what if we like write down the position of each plate on the tray before we put it in the oven and write down what the barcode numbers were?
Yeah.
I said, that's a great idea. That's what we're going to do. We're going to print duplicate labels for every plate. We're going to write it down. We're going to put them in. When they come out, we'll know exactly which one was where, and we'll replace the labels. Okay. Now I could have went I don't know. I could have went to my boss. I was just a lead technician. I could have went to my boss and said, hey, we got a problem. Okay. And I'm not trying to blow my own horn. I'm saying in that moment, I tried to be a leader and we solved the problem together as a team. Right? There's so many different aspects of leadership, and this team has none of it. And it hasn't for years. And again, I don't want to keep harping on yesterday, but one of the things he said was that's why they hired Saleh. No, they hired Saleh because he was a successful defensive coordinator. He was the flavor of the month. He was on everybody's short list as the next Jets coach to be hired. And there's a difference, and I said this yesterday, there's a difference between motivating and leading. Anybody can pat you on the back when things go great. Anybody can say, great job, guy. Anybody can say, you're the best, man. You are the fucking best. Anybody can do that. Not everybody can lead. That's all I got.
Love that. Okay. FL Phil 98. Appreciate it. Calling in even when he's like, I wish I could call in, but boom, he's in. I love the juice. Yeah, I would say, I think it's a great point by FL Phil 98 there when you're talking about leadership and motivation. When shit gets hard, you know what I mean? When things are going south and things are going rough, and then we look to the leader in the room, how is he handling this? Because how he handles it is going to have a trickle-down effect on everybody. That's leadership. It's when shit's going wrong, we're like, hey man, what's the answer to FL Phil's example? And like, what's that answer is going to lead? It's going to set the tone for the rest of the room. So one of the answers I'd like, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are sick of these kind of responses and quotes and things because you want results. How Aaron Rodgers said he's going to set the tone this week. Let's see if it has an impact. It had an impact with me hearing it. I'm like, ooh, that could hit. That could hit. And we'll see if it does hit. Great show today, guys. We have 900 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, spread the gospel of Boy Green Daily. We'll be back here in a couple of hours again at 1:30. Henry McKenna. He covers the NFL and the AFC East and Jets, Patriots, and all that jazz for Fox Sports. And our NFL Fox Sports Insider will be joining us live at 1:30 to be myself, Boy Green. I'm Boy Green. That was weird. Boy Green, Woody, Henry McKenna. Us three, 1:30 live. That is our Boy Green meets Woody show today. So set your clocks for that. We'll get more into it for Jets Patriots coverage. And I'm looking forward to that. Also, tomorrow morning, we'll do even more Patriots. Taylor Kyles, our New England Patriots insider, will be joining us live at 7:30 tomorrow morning to preview Jets Patriots. Because, for our wrestling fans in the audience, old Gerard Mayo said the Patriots were soft. SAWFT, soft. I'm curious how they're going to respond to that. Before we go, we got a buzzer-beating call. Johnny Boy jumping in on the show. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, what up? What's going on, Boy Green? Hey, first and foremost, Phil.
Yeah.
He said it amazingly, bro. And that's exactly what yesterday myself and my uncle, we were talking about, right? The leadership conversation in regards to that. You know what played for me? I was like, okay, we got something. You know when you have like a dumpster fire going on, right? But there might be like one moment and you're like, oh, okay, well, this might be all right. But everything around you is on fire, but there's just that one moment. Is seeing Devante Adams, right, after the interception run from all the way to the back to make that tackle. Because in his mind, when he said it, he was like, I know our defense is good and they're going to stop it and get the ball back for us. He's not saying, you know what I mean? Oh, they're only going to score 3. No, he thinks our defense is that good. He thinks our team is that good that they're going to get the ball back. And that's leadership for me, for myself, in my opinion only, nobody else's. But when you see somebody do that, that might be one of those moments where you're like, maybe this is it. This is the one piece where things start to change around and stuff in that culture of that locker room changes, because that Saleh culture that was there, he might have been a guy that, led behind closed doors or whatever or anything, but we didn't see it. You know what I mean? On the field and stuff like that. And you had other guys that were there. Mosley was supposed to be the leader, which I think he is. DJ Reed was one of the silent ones and all that. So I wasn't going to call because I've been running around like crazy.
Sure.
But when Phil said that, like, he hit it right on, man. So shout out to Phil in regards to that, because
Phillium, baby.
it's the truth, bro. It's the truth. Anybody that's played competitive ball, man, knows that you always got that one player, that one guy that you would really run through a wall for, man. You know what I mean? So, hey, I appreciate you, bro. Keep doing your stuff, man. And the streak starts this Sunday, baby. 10-0. Let's go.
Booyah. There he is. I love it. Johnny Boy here on the show. And speaking of Uncle, we got a Boy Green Coffee Club membership, baby. Oh, yeah. You love to see it. So shout out to Uncle Tio here. And that is OG Jet fan Jim. You are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. And folks, I see it in the chat. I see it in the chat. We are waiting to get NY Jets, NY Jets FL, his emoji, which, by the way, was already made by Snowball. And then I would love to see an Allen emoji. That'd be terrific. So we'll see if that rallies. But, we still need a handful of more memberships to get NY Jets FL. So we'll see if we can garner some of that juice and positivity when the Jets turn it around. I think people will be more willing to spread the love of Boy Green Daily and the Boy Green Coffee Club, which we're very much looking forward to. So shout out to Uncle Tio for ending the show with a nice little cherry on top, and thank you to Johnny Boy. And yeah, FL Phil 98 is one of our favorites, so it's great to have him here on the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, we'll be back at 1:30 for some Jets Patriots coverage for a full preview. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody.